Welcome back, my loves, to another episode of the Savvy Stylist Podcast. If you are new here, I am your host, Amy Walker, and this is part of the Unleashed series of the podcast. We go all in on all different topics, not just behind the chair, not just beauty industry, but your business and your being as a whole. And the Unleashed series, I am bringing you conversations with incredible, successful humans who are going to shift your perspective and really expand your world. So today, I am so beyond honored to have this guest with me. She is a mentor of mine, somebody who I look up to massively. We met in person for the very first time last year in Montreal at an event, and literally, when I say there are people who come into your world that change everything, this is one of those people. So Kiki is the wildly wealthy woman over on IG. She is a trauma-informed wealth embodiment mentor, spiritual entrepreneur, and manifestation queen, helping women reclaim their wildly wealthy selves and heal their money wounding. Welcome, Kiki.
You had me in tears with that one. Thank you.
It is. So we met last year at the As She Rises event, which I have spoke a little bit about on this podcast, but you guys, this was a moment. I talk a lot about making moves that change your life, but that might scare the shit out of you in the moment. This was one of those. I went across the goddamn country by myself, knowing nobody, but
Did
knowing
you
that
really?
I did. I knew Casey because
I
Casey
love that.
lives, our girls dance together, but that was it. Like
I
I
love that.
I knew nobody, but I knew that I needed to be there.
Yes.
And yeah.
Dude, I just so you to honor what you just said about making the moves that scare you. I had spoken on stages before, but I had other people with me, So the year before I spoke at Casey's event, but I was on a panel. Like it didn't scare me. It was like a live podcast recording. That's kind of how I saw it. I was in energy with like my people. Whereas last year when we met, you saw me in that, like I call it the zoot suit. Like I was in this one piece thing and I got to facilitate breath work. And it was such an honor that Casey asked me to come and to share my magic. And right before I was like cool as a cucumber the entire time until maybe like an hour before I was going to go on. And I just had to tell myself, I like these are my people. If I'm going to fuck it up, even like everyone will still love and appreciate me because these are my people. But when I tell you, I literally almost pooped my pants before going on stage to facilitate breathwork because it was new to me. I had never had all eyes on me with no support and any of those things. So it really, but it, brought me into connection with so many incredible humans and it was so worth it. And now I'm going and I'm facilitating breathwork at music festivals and doing all of these things. And so it really is worth the like short-term hour of discomfort to have this beautiful long-term growth on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things where like your comfort zone is a beautiful place. We all talk about this, but really it is the thing. Like we put ourselves in these little boxes. And I did it for years. Like
Yes.
everything that I talk about, I come from a place of like experience. I've been there, I've done it, I've experienced it. I've either moved through it or I am.
Yep.
And it's one of those like it's and this happens big time in the beauty industry where we get really comfortable with what we know. And
Yes.
everything outside of that is scary because there becomes this comparison. It's like, well, that's what they're doing or that's how they did it, but like that's maybe not me.
Right.
And making those big scary decisions, they are scary and they are terrifying and you do shit your pants a little bit and you get
Yes.
sweaty armpits and like rashes, right? But on the other side of that thing is like this whole big, beautiful world.
You feel so empowered. I cried as soon as I finished doing that because it was just like, I did it. And I was in company with people that I love and I care about, and they were with me on that journey. And they came up to me and they're like, you did it. And that was the best breath work that I've ever done. And I'm just like, oh, that it's a high. I
It
chase the
is.
high. I
It
used to
is.
chase drugs. Now I chase this. It's so much
Right?
better.
Yeah. Okay, Kiki, tell me a little bit about you and the work that you do
Yeah.
with women, with
Yeah,
entrepreneurs.
totally. So I've been in business. This is my seventh year in business. I have gone through the iterations of network marketing. That was like my gateway drug. And I discovered personal development and then spirituality. And I've been on this whole big, beautiful journey. And in the beginning, it was a lot of like mindset. And then I had maybe like my first year, and then my business coach was like, you need to be a business coach. And I'm like, I don't know the first thing about business. I joked with a client yesterday that I still don't know about business. I do what I do, and the people come and I serve, and like that's business. So again, like permission to throw the rules out the window because I still don't have a website. I'm 7 years in and don't have a website. Like there is, it's fine. It's fine. Whatever your brain is telling you and lying to you about, it's fine. Just do it anyways. But in that process, I really kind of found my groove, and things were going really well. And then I hit this upper limit and I threw all of my success away because money equated to pain. And I obviously didn't realize that in the moment, but through my healing work, that was what we came up with. And as a result, now where I'm at in business, I did mindset, I did spirituality, manifestation, all of these things. But at this juncture in my life, it is that 3 years that I kind of went into the shit and I pushed my business away very unconsciously. I discovered that there was a lot of shame I was harboring towards money. And I got myself into a whole, like in 2020 I became financially free because my business was succeeding, I was doing all the things, like life was good. And then 2021 my business completely bottomed out. And in that 3 years there was a lot of struggle, a lot of pain, a lot of not even making like bad money moves. It was just I kept making money moves and my income wasn't reflecting because I had all of these unconscious blocks around wealth. And so finally one day I had this call with Casey, with our mentor, and she looks at me and she goes, Kiki, what do you want? And I said, I just want to be wildly wealthy. And I could not believe the words coming out of my mouth. I was like, oh, did I just that was that me? Was that me?
Yeah.
And so what I realized is that there was like this version of me that was like, bitch, you know what you're meant for. I've known since I was a kid, I was meant for a big life, whatever that meant.
Mhm.
And I was denying myself of it. So I was keeping myself trapped in this timeline. And so after that call, I was like, okay, I'm, I guess like I'm going to be a wildly wealthy woman. And what does that look like? I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out. And so this was the making of Wildly Wealthy Woman. And I started excavating what that looked like. And eventually I realized that I don't want women to be in a state of disempowerment with their finances. I don't want women to settle for jobs that feel safe but leave them deeply unfulfilled, or partnerships where they feel trapped and they can't go anywhere because they've outsourced their power to their partner. I want women to feel empowered by money. Money can be a really empowering thing. And that was something that just felt so big. And I was
Mhm.
like, oh shit, okay, I'm being chosen. I
I am
am,
called.
I am the chosen one. And then I realized actually, and this was the biggest catalyst for me, is that my business isn't about me, it's about the mission. It's about what I'm here to do. And so I don't know why it chose me, but it did, and I moved, and as a result, we're now on the other side of it and doing really well.
It's so beautiful. I love that. And I love how you said, like, it was like it just came to you. Like you knew and the words were there and you listened. I think that's the
Yes,
piece that we miss. It's that like we all have our intuition, but some of us are more in tune to it, right? And
100%.
some of us are in tune and don't listen.
Well, this is the thing, is that our intuition is always there, and it will start as a whisper and then will grow into talk. And then eventually it will be like anviling you over the head until you're listening.
Right.
And that, completely unrelated to business, I ended up having this like whisper in the beginning of 2022, I think, or 23. I can't remember, but a couple years ago my intuition was telling me to stop drinking alcohol. And I was like, yeah, cool, whatever. Like, fine. And then kept drinking alcohol. And then I was like, oh, maybe I'll do a sober month. And I did a sober month. And then I went back to drinking alcohol. And then I had this really messed up family situation happen. And it overshadowed, I had been out of the country. So it was 2021. I had been out of the country for 10 months, and I flew home to see my mom. And something happened that completely overcast that. And it ended up with me and my mom sitting around a kitchen table until 3 o'clock in the morning, drinking out of a box of wine, and me getting completely blackout drunk with my mother and waking up with the worst hangover I've ever had in my life, not remembering like getting home at the end. My mom and I were kitchen table, yes, but we were at she owns a property. So I had to walk myself to like my room. And when I woke up in the morning, I was just like, okay, this is the scream. And I that day gave up alcohol for 9 months. And it was the greatest thing that I ever did. And to this day, it's completely rewired my relationship with it. So
Yeah.
listen to your intuition.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I have a similar story about alcohol. And this is kind of been one of those things that was like started to get me really leaning into like what can happen and the possibility of when you do listen to that intuition. I
Yes.
didn't necessarily have like a big thing that made me like cold turkey stop drinking, other than I have an autoimmune condition. My drinking was becoming like a crutch, and I was
Yep.
feeling like the shittiest I had felt. And I literally woke up one morning and I was like, that is it. I am done.
Yep.
And I just quit for 6 months. It didn't bother me. I went through a whole camping season. If you are somebody who camps, it's like it's just what
Sitting around the
ugh,
campfire,
you do.
just
It's so bad.
cracking them.
And it was fine. And my relationship with alcohol is completely different now.
Yes.
So it's funny how like life happens that way.
1000%.
So you really had to become the wildly wealthy woman before you were the wildly wealthy woman. Yes? Tell me about that.
Yeah. That was edgy. It was so many stories of who the fuck do you think you are, right? Like wildly wealthy woman. And because, of course, on that call with Casey, with our mentor, it was just like, no, no, like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, I have to be her first. It's like, how do you think you become her, right? You have to, everything that from a manifestation standpoint, everything that was or is in your 3D awareness now, in the physical, tangible, you can hold it, you can grasp it. It was first an idea.
Mhm.
And so one of my favorite stories too is about the Ford motor, the V8 motor, of like Henry Ford had a vision and he would not stop until he found the team to bring that vision to life. And everyone called him crazy. Everyone said it's impossible. It can't be done. It's like the 4 minute mile, right? No, no, it's humanly impossible until it's not. And so these are the things that I really like kind of kept in the back of my mind as I was building this out. And it was waking up every single morning because the reason for that call with my mentor was because I was so burnt out, which I know we'll talk about. I was so burnt out. I was so depleted. And I remember like viscerally fearing like I am going to end up homeless. I am not going to make anything of myself. I'm going to have to like go back to a job, which I did. I ended up going back to a job. And I said to her, I was like, I don't know what to do anymore. And she goes, okay, well, first, your nervous system is shot because you're so burnt out. You're in a state of freeze. You're in a survival mode. So let's work on that first. And then when this conversation about the wildly wealthy woman came through, I had to really commit to like, what does that look like? And if I were wildly wealthy, and if I were in that timeline, I wouldn't really be having my poor person problems right now. I would be talking about money in a completely different way. So let me start consciously, and I'm not going to be perfect, but let me start consciously speaking different and thinking different and feeling different. And actually, let me just completely redefine what wealth is. And that was the catalyst for everything. So I took money off the table and then I started showing up as someone who was wealthy because I noticed wealth in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, in the conversation around burnout, which is a big piece of what we talk about here on this podcast, burnout often comes from the constantly doing of something that is actually not in alignment of what you want,
Yes.
right? Constantly
Yes.
working harder and harder and harder for somebody else's goals and
Yeah.
dreams.
Yeah. Yeah. I was in this space where I remember because my business, I was trying to make something work. One, I was totally not people centered. I was money centered. I was like, okay, I need to make the money so that I can survive. So I was just throwing spaghetti at the wall. And then when the burnout got so bad, I could barely, I remember just laying in bed. I remember my mind going a million miles a minute, being like, yeah, but you need to do this and you need to do this. And here's the idea. And here's the idea. And I couldn't even bring myself to put the idea together. There was zero energy in my body. And so my mind was constantly going, but my body physically could not be brought to do any of the things, which is so crazy to me because I can't believe I ever got to that place. Like that was something that a past version of me would have never put on her bingo card. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Except there was no vision left in me. So it was just make money, make money. So what you say about like the doing for someone else's dream, I was doing for the survival. And when you're already in a state of survival and then trying to do from that energy, it's like, of course, no one was showing up. My energy was not magnetic, right?
Mhm.
And I had to really take a look at um, re-anchoring into a vision that went so far beyond just being about me. And I
Yeah.
think that that's something too that a lot of business owners miss. Like, obviously, you are in a business, but if you don't have clients, you don't have a business,
Mhm.
right? You need to have the money in order to survive. Like, that is just facts.
Yeah.
And what is the larger, like, why should people choose you over someone else? There's a million money mindset coaches in the industry, but I'm not a money mindset coach. I talk about money, but I do it in a way that I've never seen anyone else talk about it.
Because
That,
you're talking about the actual embodiment and the being of,
yes,
not
yes.
just the I want $1,000 an hour.
Let me do the 5 times 55 method.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it ends up being such a, you talk about how like it was from a place of survival. It was coming from a place of I need to make money.
Yes. Yes. Desperation.
Yeah.
That is not desperation, quite literally is not the energy. It's lack. It's not the frequency of abundance. It's not the frequency of overflow. And one of the things that I talk about inside my spaces is frequency over form.
Mm.
And so this is what I want a lot of people listening to like really hear me when I say that there is a difference between wealth and money. And money is a tangible expression of the frequency of wealth or abundance or prosperity, insert thing here. But wealth is subjective. It's very easy to tap into. You can literally, like, when so many people have the two intertwined, and when we can work to detangle it and make them two very separate entities, we realize that wealth is actually so much more expansive than just money alone. And that's really what I want people leaving my spaces understanding, is that money is just a byproduct.
Yeah. That's what I was just going to say. Money is a byproduct of the wealth embodiment,
Yes.
right?
And like really simply, and like have a shift right here, right now,
Yeah.
is you can tune into where so many people are like, oh, well, I'll feel wealthy when you're already cutting yourself off. You're already like failing before you even get out of the gates. Um, your expectation of something externally influencing your internal is what is like you're doing it backwards. So, can you witness where you already have the frequency of wealth? And that can be found in so many different areas. You can take a look around your room, wherever you're listening right now. Maybe you're in the car. How, like, what's the dollar amount of the value of your car? That's wealth. What is the dollar amount of all of the clothes that are in your closet? That's wealth. Every single item has a dollar amount assigned to it. Let's again take money out of the equation. You have air that is constantly being poured into your lungs. If that air was unavailable to you, you would not feel wealthy in your health,
Mhm.
right? When we get sick, we very quickly realize how much of a blessing health is, right? So, really taking the time to be intentional and be present with the frequency of wealth, that's how we get embodied in it. It's
Mhm.
all about the appreciation of what we have, and that compounds into the reciprocity of more.
Yeah. Oh, that is like, as you're speaking, I'm like, oh, yeah, like looking around my space. So, for our listeners, let this be something that you take intentional time to do today. I want you to, wherever you are listening to this, or when you get home tonight, I want you to take 5 minutes and look around your space. What are the things? What is the value of the things? The things in your home, the furniture in your living room, the food in your fridge, the clothing in your closet, the air in your lungs, like what
You go and you turn on a tap,
yeah.
there's water. You go and you flick on a light switch, there's electricity. That is wealth. And I think because we are so conditioned to it being our norm, that
Mhm.
we forget that it is actually a luxury, that there are places in the world where people don't have this access.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like because you were talking about how wealth and money are not the same things, we forget like all of the things that make us wealthy beings.
Yeah.
And it's not a
There's
dollar
a
in the bank account.
totally, there's a trend going around Instagram right now that I actually can't believe that I haven't like tapped into, but it's like rich because, and it has absolutely nothing, none of the whole point of the trend is that it's nothing to do with money. Rich because I have a husband that I'm excited to leave the party for. Rich because I travel around the world. Rich because I have a home full of love. Like those are all expressions of richness, right? Like,
Yeah.
what a blessing.
What a blessing.
Find the miracles in your day-to-day life, and more miracles will appear.
Right? Okay, so this just like came into my head as we're talking about trends on Instagram. Friends listening, this is the second thing I need you to do today. I need you to jump on this. I want you to share on your social media things that make you wealthy that have nothing to do with money, that are not dollars in your bank account, that are not, programs or courses or things that are totally just things that are, if you were homeless, you would look at people and go, man, she
Yeah,
has a husband, she has a wife, they have kids, they have clothes on their back. Like,
yeah,
what is something that you can be so grateful for that makes you wealthy? That has nothing to do
absolutely.
with money. And then
Um,
share it and come tag Kiki and I so we can celebrate
yes,
you.
I'm so
We need
glad
to
that you said that.
celebrate more of that, right?
We need to listen. Celebration is a catalyst for receivership.
Mhm.
If we are not grateful for what we currently have, that signals to the universe that we are not ready for more.
Yeah.
I wake up every morning, I try to wake up every morning and just even just say thank you for a brand new day,
Yeah.
right? There
Yeah.
is something so potent between waking up and starting your day in this like beautiful grounded energy of what a blessing it is to be alive. Someone is currently taking their last breath, and
Yeah.
I am blessed with a brand new day. And the stark difference of, oh, okay, well, here we go. I've got to get up and get the kids and roll out of bed and pop my hair on top of my head and then maybe take a shower and go sit in traffic. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Life is magical, but only to those who are willing to witness the magic.
It's the shift of I get to,
I get
not I
to.
have to. I get
Yes.
to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Kiki, how do our friends listening work with you? How do people
Oh
get
my goodness.
you? Tell me all of the places.
So many different spaces. First of all, I love hanging out on Instagram, so please come follow me at Wildly Wealthy Woman. I have a free Facebook community, so you can dial in there. We just finished up my birthday celebration. I
Yeah.
give away, it's one of like, it's a love language to give away things. So
Mhm.
we gave away a bunch of prizes and opportunities to work together. Um, Also, my big thing that I am currently, that you are a part of, that I love, that you are inside, is called Wildly Wealthy Woman, the program. And basically, what we are doing is reprogramming your entire lifetime of conditioning. So, we are working at the soul, the energetics of wealth, the mind of wealth, the body of wealth. And then finally, in the fourth portal, we will get into the legacy of wealth and really how to create this sustainable long-term growth of your wealth in a very practical sense.
Yeah. Friends, as somebody who is inside the Wildly Wealthy Woman, holy lordy, this is a space for everybody, whether or not you are a CEO or an entrepreneur or you work for somebody or you're a stay-at-home mom. Like, it really
Yes.
does not matter what your status is. This is
Amen.
like mind, body, soul of wealth.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so funny because we're only like 8 weeks into the, you literally came in and had a shift right away. It was so
Mhm.
funny.
Mhm.
But that was like, it's a testament to the work. It's like you commit, you decide, you draw your line in the sand, and the universe starts recalibrating right away. And so we're only 8 weeks into not even 8 weeks in. But this is going to be like a year of transformation. And everyone's like, that sounds like a lot. And I always retort with, you have spent your entire lifetime learning how to think and feel and behave with money in a way that has disempowered you. If I can take a year and completely shift that, what would that do for you? Right?
Yeah.
It's going to
Yeah.
change everything.
Our society is so, like, into the quick fixes. So the
Oh,
idea, which is like, but the idea of investing some time into the rest of your life,
yeah.
like, if
It's like,
nothing
what's
changes,
one
nothing
year?
changes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Kiki, thank you so much for today.
Thank you.
I know that there was so much that our listeners got out of that conversation. There's so much I got out of that conversation. Everything will be in the show notes, you guys. So please, please head over, follow Kiki, reach out, say hi, share a screenshot of this episode, tag us, and let us know
Please.
what you loved. This is like, I love celebrating other people, and I want to be able to recognize and say, hey, and just sharing the excitement with you. So please reach out, follow along, get into Kiki's DMs, and learn more about the programs that she has going on. There is some super exciting, very expansive things she has going on, and you need to be in all the spaces. I can promise you that. So,
I love you.
Kiki, thank you, my love. This has been so wonderful. Thank you to our listeners. This has been another episode of the Savvy Stylist Podcast, the unleashed version. I can't wait to bring more episodes and see you all again soon. Mwah.
Hi, guys.